and to BitChute and to YouTube, which uploading to YouTube at this point, it's like a 50-50 whether or not my video is going to get banned. If I mention anything about the Jews, that increases it to about 75% likely that I'm going to get banned. And then if I say anything about the vaccine, then it's definitely banned. And so it's like I can't even speak freely. That's why I say free speech isn't real in this country. Which is usually those kind of governmental issues and conspiracy theories about the Jewish mafia and all this other crap. That's usually when I'm doing my beholden to truth platform on this account. I tend to start the day with a morning news segment about news and current events and the, as mentioned, conspiracy theories that are not conspiracy theories. But this session here, and most of what we did this morning, about 2 of the 3 hours, was related to the Red Pill Fitness stream that you're watching right now, which is all about nutrition, dieting, bodybuilding, the fitness lifestyle, supplements, cardio, strength training, all that fun stuff. But I mean, it usually only takes like 2 minutes of talking about that before I connect it to either some giant conspiracy theory or spirituality and the importance of having Jesus Christ in your life. That's what usually ends up happening on this stream is I'll let you know how your fitness stuff that I want you to work on fits into the greater plan of saving the world from evil. And that's important. You need to know. You're not just doing this stuff to have a good-looking physique and to live, how many ever years longer. You do all this stuff the right way, then the mental gains you'll accumulate will turn into spiritual gains, which will expose you to the millennia-long warfare going on between the Holy Father and the Prince of Darkness. And you'll be able to use all your discipline gains to recruit others into the eternal fight. Anyway, what we're here for right now is to answer some fitness questions. So we're gonna let's actually turn off the most popular question because we've kind of answered all the top ones on here. So now we're gonna answer the most recent ones. So sort by creation date. Here we go. We're getting stuff that's like fresh off the press. Look, 0 replies. All right. Let's see. I'm 5'9". I don't even care about being short. I just wish I could be the same height as Aaron Yeager. Is this like an anime thing? Every time I watch AOT, I'm guessing that's an anime. I get so sad thinking about the fact that a cartoon character is tall. Okay, so this is what happens when you're hanging out on 4chan. You get attached to cartoons, and you have a little bit of a hard time growing out of your childhood. And I say that very sarcastically, but 100% factually. If you're a mid-20s, honestly even like 22, and you're sitting around spending hours of your week, more than one single hour, that's about all I would allow, watching cartoons. They're called anime, they're called manga, they're called... Blah, blah, blah. No, it's a cartoon. That's about as much time as you have to throw away on watching cartoons, okay? That's all I'll say about that. You need to be devoting your time. If you have time to be watching things, they need to be educational. They need to be providing you some historical context of the country that you live in so you can learn from history and avoid the mistakes. That's the whole point of studying history. And not just the country you live in, but its ties to all the countries around it and how it fits into the world. Because a lot of the current drama that we see between countries, it's not like it's shit that happened this year. Do you think what's going on in Russia and Ukraine is because an argument they had this year or last year in the last 5 years? No, this stuff is decades, generations long. These conflicts get passed down from generation to generation, and if you never study history, you're going to look at a conflict and have an emotional overreaction to such as Russia goes into a smaller country says they're democracy. That must mean I have to side with the democracy because that's what CNN tells me. Russia, evil. Putin, evil. You'll be an NPC, a non-player character, just another voice out there that isn't even an identity. Like you aren't even a person. You're a character template that you downloaded from the mainstream media and whatever's coming across your social media channels. That's a lot to say. Don't watch anime. Watch information. Stuff about learning how to live. Stuff about learning how to diet. Stuff about the politics and the political environment of today and yesteryears, so you understand how certain aspects of the past were better than our current, and obviously in ways where we've improved. Like, to assume that where we are currently in history on the timeline is the pinnacle, everything is the best it's ever been, that's just not true, especially when you talk about American history. You know, the crackdown on free speech and the imposition of the satanic agenda from basically post World War I and II, we live in a different America than people before the wars. Very, very different America. And we can go back to that time where Christian fundamental values were put on the top of everything. And we stayed awake and wary of the threats to that. Now it's like most people don't even understand that that is under threat. Or even worse, they think that that's not the ideal way to run the country. That the majority of the country shouldn't be Christian. That the majority should be secular or atheist, agnostic. That religion has no place in government. This country was founded by God's men, Christians, with a very, very clear devotion to Christ, a covenant with Christ, that if he protected our nation as it grew and got its wings, then we would be his people. And we passed that promise and that covenant on from generation to generation until a certain party of Jewish elite financiers overtook all of the major institutions in America and the military-industrial complex, big pharma, big tech, big finance, the entertainment industry, the news industry, the music industry, the sports industries. I mean, all these industries within the entertainment industry. And they started using all of those as a loudmouth microphone for their worldview, for their religion, and actively sabotage the Christian way of life in America. And that's how we got here where we are now, 100 years later. So you're caught up now, if you didn't know what was going on. People who actually see Christ where he is now, they believe Christ is roasting in a pot of urine in hell. That's the people who run our government right now. Who run all of our major institutions, but most worrisome, our government. These people have no devotion to the United States of America. The Holy Land, Israel, is that's where their heart lies. It's the core of their religion. Everything they do is for Israel. They might try to argue that, sure, America comes second in priority, and that's great to rank us second into their priorities, into their nations that matter. But the fact is the people who founded this country and passed it down to us, America came first, not Israel then America or any other country. America always comes first in the rank of priorities. And so even if you're secular and you're not a Christian, and you don't necessarily believe that maybe we should run things the Christian way, you do need to understand at least that the people running the country don't have America as their first priority. Do you think that matters? If you're agnostic or atheist, you think you just don't have any kind of horse in this race because you don't have a religion? It's important. It is important, especially when you learn their tactics. This mafia warfare that you see being employed right now on Kanye West and Kyrie Irving and Elon Musk. Guess what do all those people have in common within the last 1 month? Every single one of them stood up for free speech, and every single one of them, when they were confronted with the Anti-Defamation League and all these other Jewish-run activist pressure groups, all three of these guys gave them the middle finger and said, fuck off, I have free speech, I'm an American, I'm allowed to have my own views. And what happened to all three of these people? Elon Musk has an ad boycott that's trying to destroy 94% of Twitter's revenue. Kyrie Irving got fined $500,000, publicly shamed, and suspended from the NBA for 5 games. To date, I'm sure much worse is going to continue to happen to him. So, I mean, both of these alleged black icons have now been publicly lynched by the Jew Mafia. Black community doesn't seem to care. Nobody's stepping up for these people. If anything, they're throwing them under the bus, saying, "Oh man, they're crazy conspiracy theories. The black or the Jewish people definitely don't run the NBA. Yeah, the NBA commissioner is definitely not Jewish himself." And then Kanye, the worst tragedy, was worth $2 billion, gets his line with the Adidas Yeezys and all that yanked from under him. That's like $1 billion. And then he gets his deal with Gap, his clothing line, yanked from him. Gets dropped by his talent agency, gets blackballed from his family, is getting blackmailed by his personal trainer, saying that, not currently is, this already happened to him. He dropped the proof of it. He exposed the text messages, how he was getting blackmailed by his Jewish personal trainer, saying, if you don't talk the way I want you to talk about the things you're only allowed to talk about according to me, then I will have you institutionalized and medicated so much to the point that you are brain dead. And to rub salt in the wound, I just want to remind you that once you are brain dead, you won't even be capable of feeling love for your children. You won't even be able to have a relationship with them because you will basically be lobotomized. You will be incapable of feeling love for your family if you say something about the Jews. Does that sound like a reasonable reaction to saying something bad about somebody's race or somebody's religion? I mean, you can turn on MSNBC right now or any point in the day, and they are saying that white people are, the living reincarnate of Satan, just walking around lynching black people left and right. They hate Mexicans. And you can say anything you want about white people. That's fine. You can say anything you want about Christians. That's fine. To a certain degree, you can say whatever you want about black people. It's obviously more dangerous to do so, which is still hypocritical that you can say whatever you want about white people, but only a little bit about black people. But you can't say anything about Jewish people. Not on any of the major platforms. It's honestly probably only a matter of time before I get banned from Twitch. Definitely can't say these things on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook. Twitter for sure. I mean, you'll get, ring, ring, hi, this is the Anti-Defamation League. We're coming to take your house. That's how that goes. But all of this is just a conspiracy theory. None of this is connected. These things are just circumstantial. You're reading into this too much. Yeah, okay. Anyway, 15 minutes later of ranting about the Jews, you guys need to understand that we are under attack. I'm trying to change the subject back to fitness, but nobody's listening about how important all this stuff is. They are going to regret it. When you get sent to the re-education camps, when this country goes full-on communism, why did you have to go to the re-education camp? Because something you said was a hate crime according to somebody else. Maybe you said something about trans people. Maybe you said that men can't actually be women and women can't be men. Well, off to the re-education camp you go. That's a hate crime. Maybe when you say something like, 50% of all violent crime in America is done by African Americans, who represent only 13% of the country. That's a little weird. That's a very obvious statistical anomaly, disproportionate representation. Does anybody want to talk about that? No, you're going to have to talk about that from jail, because that's also a hate crime, because it implies that there's something wrong with black people and somebody got their feelings hurt when you brought it up.